Hello and welcome to the Mutant Agenda. Today we're going to talk about Astonishing X-Men Issue 13 and X-Men Gold Issue 31. Let's do it. X-Men Gold issue number 31 was written by Marc Guggenheim with art by Perez, coloring by J. David Ramos and Matt Mia, lettering by Virtual Calligraphy's Joe Caramagna, and cover by Phil Noto. I feel like X-Men Gold was really strong this week. We're immediately thrown into the aftermath of the Kitty Pryde and Colossus wedding that didn't exactly go how we all thought it would, and we're getting to see some of the ramifications of that and the aftermath. The first thing we see is Rachel waking up to Kurt has been attacked by Mesmero. Mesmero sneaks some influence on her, and this is going to carry over to the very last page of this comic, which, if you spoiled it for yourself, is a huge bummer because I thought this surprise was so effective. Because what we have here is Peter and Kitty saying goodbye to each other. He's deciding to go home. And from there, we're seamlessly led into a flashback, which I guess is more like a flash forward into the Days of Future Past timeline, where we see the issue go completely haywire, where we see our main team of X-Men trying to get the upper hand on the Sentinels. And this is going to be so important because when Mesmero had, put his influence on Rachel earlier, it comes all the way back around with that last page reveal. And in this flashback, or flash forward rather, Rachel is hunting the X-Men to stop their plans from getting out of their camp, at the Sentinel camp. And she's hunting them and she's picking them off one by one by one, and then on the very last page, we see the reveal that Rachel's actually doing this in real time. She's attacking her friends, and Mesmero's making her think that she's back in that timeline and doing, acting out her purpose of hunting down these mutants. And it's devastating when there's that last shot of Bobby, and he's just telling her, Rachel, snap out of it. This is in your head. Super effective. I feel like Guggenheim has totally hit a stride with last issue leading into this one. It's the most exciting I feel like the book's been in a long time. The art was fantastic in this issue. Great job on that front. And I just feel like he has a love for Rachel that he's finally getting to explore. We've seen him sprinkling hints throughout Gold of, why is Rachel so powerful? What's going on with her? She's being manipulated by various forces, as we found out in the Red Annual. Cassandra Nova's been an influence as well. I feel like shit's about to hit the fan. Marc Guggenheim is getting to, play with this character of Rachel and take her to this place. And I feel like we're in for a pretty good arc here as we near the end of X-Men Gold. So this was a strong issue for me. Thumbs up. Go pick this one up for sure. Astonishing X-Men Issue 13 was written by Matt Rosenberg, with pencils by Greg Land, inks by Jay Leiston, coloring by Frank D'Armata, and lettering by Virtual Calligraphy's Clayton Cowles. And this was so much fun. I can't emphasize it enough. We're led into a kind of a redemption arc for Alex Summers, being under that evil influence that he's been on with since the Uncanny Avengers and in the events of Axis and throughout X-Men Blue. He's had his moral compass reversed, and he's had, evil influence on his mind, and this is kind of his first step toward making himself a hero again, and not just that, but taking himself seriously as an X-Man and hoping that other mutants, other mutant youth, and other humans see the X-Men as a viable source of, heroics, because a lot of the time the X-Men are always seen as this group of delinquents or miscreants that can't quite do the right job. And in this issue, we see right off the bat that that's very much what the Avengers think as well, with Tony pretty much scolding Alex as if he's his father, saying, we had an understanding with Mole Man, we had a plan, you came in here as an X Factor, pun absolutely intended, and you just kind of mucked everything up for us, so good job. Awesome, Havok. Go home. Probably the most fun I had with this issue is when Havok tries to go to the mansion and talk to students, and he pretty much has an agenda to recruit his own team, which definitely pisses Kitty off as kind of, the boss of the place. She's running the place. He hasn't quite processed that, so he kind of barges in and is giving this very emotional, inspirational speech to a class of young mutants, which features some amazing, amazing characters. I mean, this panel right here is why I love the X-Men. Just look at these weirdos. It's fantastic. It feels so good. It feels like we're home in this X-book, and I love it. My favorite interaction here in this classroom is definitely between Alex and Rockslide, where Rockslide's just like, dude, aren't you a wanted criminal? And Alex is like, yeah, but I'm an X-Man too. I'm a hero, first and foremost. I'm one of the OGs. And he's like, that's cool, but like, aren't you currently wanted? Like, cool story, but should we be listening to you at all? Like, why would we want to be on a team with a bad guy? And they just have this back and forth, and it's hilarious, and Alex finally snaps and says, "Listen, you mother..." And that's about when Kitty interjects, and it's just like, "Listen, dude, I'm the boss. If you want to start a team, it has to go through me. And by the way, you're not starting a team. You're not going to barge in here and start recruiting my students." And he and Kitty have this back and forth, which is just equally as entertaining, and it was so much fun for him to touch base with all of these characters that we've been, following on this new chapter throughout the X books. Now, sprinkled throughout this issue, there's also dealings with the Reavers and some shady dealings there, and in between all the events that we're watching, we see kind of their machinations at work. And we're then led into a conversation between Beast and Havok, where Havok is trying to get Beast to join this team that he wants to start, because he didn't have much luck with the students, because Kitty was like, no, 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 no. So he talks to Beast, and Beast is very resistant because he's leading a quieter life because he's tired. And I love that Matt Rosenberg is choosing to take that direction with Beast being tired, because I think I've been tired of Beast too. I said in a previous video he's always been one of my favorites, but lately not so much. And I just feel like this is kind of a turning point. This is a potential for Beast to get back to a cool place with him recognizing what it means to be a hero again, because he's had a lot of ups and downs and he's tired. He said it himself in this issue, and I thought that was really great. I thought it was a great moment between the two, with Alex trying to convince him to step back into the fray with him for a good cause, to make people remember, to astonish them, which is just absolutely great, to call back the title, to call back the original, call to arms of that Astonishing X-Men run by Whedon, who did the same thing. Like, we need to get back to heroics. We need to astonish them. And I feel like this is really turning a page in that direction. And it's very exciting to have this new motley crew of X-Men joining together to do so. We have a big fight with the Reavers at the end, which leads into an amazing last page reveal. Much like X-Men Gold, this week was really good for last page reveals in X-Books. I'm not going to spoil who the sixth member of this team is. The news is broken. You can probably find it anywhere you want. I'm not going to do it here because I think you should go buy this and support Matt Rosenberg and everybody else on this book. I've never been a big fan of Greg Land. His work has never spoken to me. I don't feel much for it. I feel very cold and unaffected when I look at a lot of Greg Land's work. And let me tell you, if that was something that you were worried about with this issue, as I was a little bit worried, paying for a book with art by Greg Land, I won't lie to you. But I'm here to tell you right now, this is probably the strongest I've ever seen Land's work. I think he might be collaborating with somebody, which might be, why I feel like it's taking a different approach or a different look to it. But this is the best I've ever seen Greg Land work look. So if you're letting that hold you back, please don't. Go pick it up. It's worth it. Matt Rosenberg is onto something really special, and I think you'll agree with me. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been The Mutant Agenda. I'm Cody. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe for me for more content. I plan to be back with more comic reviews. I'm also planning some other things for you guys, but that's a surprise. Speaking of surprises, also I highly recommend Ta-Nehisi Coates' first issue of the new Captain America run. There is an X-Men related surprise in there, so I think you should check that out too. Also, it's Coates. You can't go wrong. Thank you so much, you guys. Like, subscribe. I will see you next time.